Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we're here for another severe weather breakdown. Now we're going to be doing one final update on this major storm before it makes landfall tonight. It's going to bring damaging winds, a few tornadoes, flooding, and more. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start off with the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for today, where we have a slight risk of severe weather for most of Florida here, okay? Tornado threat for today, you have a 5% chance to see a tornado in your community if you are in the brown area today, a 2% chance to see a tornado in your community if you are in the green area today, okay? So look out for that. Damaging wind threat, you have a 15% chance to see wind gusts of 60 miles per hour or higher if you are in the yellow today in your area, and then you have a 5% chance to see 60 mile per hour winds or higher in your area today if you are in the brown shade, so look out for that. Hail threat for today, we do not have a hail threat. Now moving on to tomorrow, we have another slight risk of severe weather now for portions of northeast South Carolina as well as southeastern North Carolina here. Tornado threat for tomorrow, you have a 2% chance to see a tornado in your town if you are in either of those green shades there, so look out for that. Damaging wind threat, you have a 15% chance to see wind gusts of 60 miles per hour or higher tomorrow if you are in the yellow shade, so look out for that. And you have a 5% chance to see that if you are in the brown shade tomorrow, okay? So look out for that as well. We have no hail threat for tomorrow either. Moving on to Monday, no risks for severe weather. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the GFS is doing for this storm here and what's next to come, really, okay? So we can see our storm in the Gulf of Mexico right now behaving a lot like a tropical system, I'd like to point out, okay? And then it's going to impact Florida pretty much all night long here, all right? Going into tomorrow even, that's going to ride the East Coast, and it's going to ride the East Coast for a while, bringing damaging winds and tornadoes for a long time, okay? So you really got to look out for that. Some snow will start to develop on the back end of this thing, maybe a little bit of lake effect snow, but nothing too much to worry about, okay? So we go into Wednesday here, and we can already see our next big storm starting to form here that will impact portions of California here. We could get some thunderstorm activity and some heavy snowfall in that area, so look out for that, and that will continue for a couple of days across the state. After that, we could be looking at some isolated thunderstorm activity here in northeast Texas, and then we get into the Christmas time of year where we could be looking at a little bit of rain across the country here, all right? We're looking at some rain in the Dixie Valley, some in the Midwest, some in the Great Plains, some in the western United States even, some snow showers riding up the Rockies, okay? So look out for that. It's not looking like too many areas are really going to be seeing that white Christmas anymore, I mean, if you don't like snow, that's good news, but for snow lovers like me, and I know a lot of other people, that is a little bit unfortunate, okay? After Christmas, East Texas, northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, we can see a line of thunderstorms with damaging winds develop here that we're really going to have to be watching, and then after that, a lot of ice accumulation in the northeast, so look out for that, and then after that, everything is a wash. It's kind of hard to predict that far out for the weather, okay? Excessive rainfall outlook, we have a slight risk of flash flooding today here in portions of Florida and southern Georgia, so look out for that. Moving on to tomorrow, we have another slight risk of flash flooding here, extending all the way from central South Carolina back up into portions of New York State there. That does include New York City, so look out for that. That also includes portions of Connecticut, I guess I should point out. Monday here, we're going to have another slight risk of flash flooding for portions of Maine and eastern New Hampshire, so look out for that. Tuesday, we are going to start to see another storm system come in here. That's when our California storm comes in and brings a marginal risk of flash flooding on Tuesday as well as on Wednesday here in California, so look out for that. Next up, I want to go ahead and talk about the wind gusts that this storm could bring, okay, because this is not going to be a light system by any means necessary, okay? So as of right now, we are looking at some pretty calm winds here in Florida, all right? Maybe a little bit gusty around the Cape Coral area, but it's whenever we get into about this evening, I'd say about 4, 5, maybe 6 p.m., the winds might start to pick up a little bit, but just off the coast, we start to see some cells develop here that could be bringing sustained winds, potentially up to 50 miles per hour even, with gusts over like 60 miles per hour potentially, okay? So we go into tonight, and that's where that storm really starts to head northeast, kind of makes a beeline for Florida. Eastern Florida as well is going to have another area of gusty winds just off the coast, so look out for that. And, I mean, it gets pretty intense here for just a little bit of time, and then even once it leaves Florida, it's going to start to head up the east coastline. But Florida, just off the coast, I mean, sustained winds potentially even getting to that 50 to 60 mile per hour mark. So you've really got to look out for this, okay? Now, there are going to be some points in time where those winds will impact extreme portions of the coastline of Florida. So we're going to have to look out for that. I guess not really just the coastline either. It's really going to be the entirety of the state, especially in central portions of Florida. Damaging winds are going to be likely, okay? So you really got to look out for that. This system, like I said, will move off to the north and the east. And I mean, you guys, this thing gets intense, okay? Bringing sustained winds up to potentially even 65 miles per hour at times, with gusts maybe up to 70, maybe even 80 miles per hour. And some of that action is getting into the coastline here of the Carolinas. So you're really going to have to look out for that in eastern North and South Carolina for a while. Once again, damaging winds. I mean, it's going to get really strong out there, really crazy, really quickly. I mean, in extreme isolated bits of eastern North Carolina, those sustained winds could push 50 miles per hour on land, with the gusts getting over 60 to 65 miles per hour. So it's definitely going to bring some severe thunderstorm level activity here, okay, just with the damaging wind threat alone. Once again, South Carolina and North Carolina, man, potentially some of the more impacted spots with this system, but also the Northeast here, specifically New York City, is going to get quite a bit of damaging wind action. We go into Monday morning here. I mean, we could be looking at sustained winds potentially upwards of 40 miles per hour in New York City, okay, like in the city, and gusts 50, 55 miles per hour. All right, this system will move off to the east after that. And Long Island, guys, it's gonna get pretty crazy out there. Sustained winds 50 miles per hour maybe here near Montauk, gusts over 60 once again. All right, and then I mean that it stays there and moves off to the northeast, brings that same kind of action to places like Cape Cod here, where once again sustained winds potentially upwards of 50 miles per hour, gusts over 60. All right, so this is going to be a huge damaging wind system. I mean, in the ocean, we're going to get like hurricane force winds. Now, some of that may not be that intense on land, but it's still going to be quite a bit. Definitely tropical storm level winds, all right? Like I said, this is a very tropical storm-like system. Finally, watches, warnings, and advisories. We have flood watches, flood advisories, flood warnings, stuff like that, pretty much all along the East Coast here. Some high wind watches in eastern Maine for this storm that will be impacting eastern Maine. It's saying, according to the National Weather Service, we could get some gusts upwards of 65 miles per hour, which I definitely agree with, okay? We have not too much else going on right now, but it is going to intensify here the later we go through the day in Florida, so look out for that. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Stay safe, everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.